welcome you to the afternoon session with special emphasis on Southeastern Europe states, and in the second part with special emphasis on Serbia. And for the first part, I would like to welcome you, Ambassador Gregor Woschner. He was until 2007 the permanent representative of Austria at the European Union, and he has, I think, very deep insights in this region, and I'm really looking forward to this interesting talk about the Center for Future European Growth, the Balkan.
Thank you very much. You may be surely quite astonished about this very optimistic title, the Center for Future European Growth, the Balkan. If you look at the past history and also sometimes in the present status, basically I think the Balkan, if it develops the right way, it could be something, a growth area like we had the Pacific Tigers before. Now, I have a son, he is an economist, and I told him, don't go west, young man, as you have in the movies of the Western movies. He said, no, you must go east, because this is the new thing, and he is now working for Mobilcom, and he was working 2 years in Beograd, where I had a chance to visit him, and he works there to establish the telecommunication, the VIPnet, and now he is transferred to Macedonia in Skopje, where he does also establish this communication, and he speaks, I think, quite good Serbian already now. From the Austrian point of view, Austria is now the top investor in several of the countries, in Bulgaria, Croatia, Serbia, Slovenia, Romania, and Bosnia and Herzegovina. It has the second place in Slovakia, because again you have there the big German investment from Volkswagen and so on. The third, Austria is the third place in the Czech Republic, and the fourth place in Macedonia. Now, I'm really convinced that the title is justified, because this Balkan area is on a catch-up process, and this catch-up process, I'm sure, will last for more than 10 years. If you look at the past, this is a very sad story, because, you know, after the Second World War, ex-Yugoslavia, as you could call it now, had one country, had one currency, a little bit like the European Union, and then it broke apart, and we always use the example of ex-Yugoslavia when we talked internally about the European Union, because we also have tendencies, you know, like in Belgium between the Flemish and the French-speaking part of kind of strong nationalism, which can easily turn into chauvinism. But on the level of the European Union, we have plafonds, several plafonds. For example, if the Flemish say we will put a custom duty against those bad people from the Wallonie, and then the Commission will say, no, no, no way, this is internal market, you cannot do it. Or if the Flemish regiments say, well, we don't want to go in maneuvers with the regiments from the Wallonie, and they say, no, 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 you cannot do it, this all belongs to NATO. So we have an element of to stop an escalation within the European Union. Otherwise, also, sometimes we have tendencies of excessive nationalism, which can also turn into chauvinism. Now, in Yugoslavia, you had this memory of the Second World War. You had the battle, you had the Chetniks and Ustashi and the partisans. So you had different groups also fighting the Germans and the Italians, but also among themselves. And all this internal conflict disappeared in the time of Tito, where you had the language, where Serbo-Croatian language was one language written in different ways. And when Tito died, then they took over the same constitution, more or less like the Swiss habit, with rotating presidency. But again, if you do this, you need a long, long tradition to prevent a kind of breakup, and surely it came to this breakup. I think Milosevic is very much also to blame, because he turned the Serb nationalism into Serb chauvinism, and that the Slovenians on the other side, I always call them something like they're Catholics with Protestant work ethics. They said, oh, we are only the net contributors in this ex-Yugoslavia, and the Croatians, no, we are only Catholic, we are not other religions. So you had this kind of escalation which went on at the end to a civil war. There was nothing really to stop it in a very, very early way. Now, you all know the story. The UN brought in peacekeeping troops, but the UN peacekeeping troops were made more or less a laughing stock by the Yugoslav army, and then we had the intervention of the NATO, which had to stop the civil war, with the biggest operation, with the operation of the European Union also down there. Now, this is all past history, and now you have a split up of this Balkan area between Slovenia, which is now a member since 4th of May of the European Union, and I was also participating in the membership negotiation with Slovenia. The Slovenians, I must say, they did very well as members of the European Union, because they had also a presidency which they did excellently, I must say. You have now Croatia in the final stage of the negotiation for membership. They hope that it should be 2012 members. Perhaps when they join the European Union, we could solve another problem which we have among us on the question on limiting the voting rights with excessive deficit. This is what Angela Merkel wants to do, so we will put a small article somewhere hidden in the accession treaty of Croatia. Serbia, since Monday, will start, the Commission will start to make an AV, an opinion about the membership negotiation. You have Bosnia and Herzegovina, where an old friend of mine, Valentin Insko, is now, according to the Dayton Agreement, he has to run more or less this country, which is not an easy thing. You know, his wife is a very good opera singer, and she was singing last year in the Salzburg Festival, the wife of Valentin Insko. We have Montenegro, which had a peaceful split. And so basically, if you look at this ex-Yugoslavia area, I have a vision that all of them will be one-day member states. I cannot say exactly when, but by the end of 2020, I think they should be able. And the one big problem, you know, if you have enlargement, you only always need a deepening of the European Union. Now we have already 27 commissioners, 27 member states. Now this is the idea that we limit the idea that not each member state has the right to have a commissioner. We should have a rotation procedure, so this is something which will be decided internally within the European Union around 2014, I think, but it is quite difficult. Now, so perhaps also Turkey is also in the membership negotiation. So perhaps also Turkey, I'm a little bit more optimistic than the Austrian politicians. They will move ahead, perhaps around 2020, 2025, they should be able to be member state. Now, they have to solve the Cyprus problem before. So we have some political problems, but they can be solved. They're difficult, but that's how it is. Now, in the meantime, there is something from the European Union. We have tried to help this area. Why does the European Union try to help the area with quite a lot of money? Well, at first, you have a quite ambitious population down there. They want to catch up. There is a strong need to build the infrastructure, and basically they're hardworking, and we can all testify to this if you look to the Croatian and Serbs who work in Austria, how hardworking they are. They have good schools. The university have also some very good technical universities. They have something what the economists would call the advantage of coming late. So if they now join in the new technical, like in the telecommunication, they get the latest equipment. So they don't have all, but they have advantage of coming late too. And, for example, the European Investment Bank has now opened an office in Beograd with about investment 500 million. So you see, all these countries are getting from each side a kind of support, and if you put it together, it could be quite important. And the last thing, we have also the EU Danube Area Initiative. This is something where Austria and Romania, we joined together, and the Commission is now asked to elaborate a new strategy for the whole Danube area. This is something which is linking 8 present member states, Germany, Austria, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, the Czech Republic and Slovenia, and 4 potential member states, Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia-Herzegovina and Montenegro, and 2 third country states, Ukraine and Moldavia. So all this is an area, 800,000 square kilometers and a population around 100 million. So for this, you will see a new program coming in. Basically, the Commission will make a presentation on the 8th of December of this year. And they will present an action plan. Between March and April of next year, it will go to the Council, and then in June to the European Council. Why? Well, this is the European Council where the Hungarians have the presidency, so we must find a goodie for Orban, that he could say, yes, I get something out of this. And for this we have to prepare it. Quite an elaborate program. So what are the targets in this? I talked quite along with the Commission people. Usually they collected all potential things what can we do. They think that the whole navigation on the Danube should now be extended to 300 days per year to make it, we have some bottlenecks which have to be cleared. Between 20% of the whole cargo should go to the Danube by 2020. Now it's around 7% of the cargo used on the Danube. So if you look at the Rhine, it's very much underused. Then the question is of the rail kilometer, around 120 between the capitals should be established and refurnished. Basically, according to the ideas, 2020 you should have around 20% less greenhouse gases and 20% plus in the renewable energy use in the whole area. And the tourism should also be increased by around 20%, where especially the Danube cruise should be strengthened. The Danube is also quite a dirty river compared to the Rhine, much more dirtier. It's less used, but much more dirtier. So the idea is to have around 20% less nutrients in the Danube, and 20% organic Danube pollution should be reduced by 20%. So again, the dwellings have to be increased, and 80% of the water quality should be for swimming. It's now definitely not the case. So you see here you have quite ambitious program. You will see that will come out at the end of this year, and the whole area should be more linked together. Now, if you look at the whole Balkan area, they are splitting up, and then they want to integrate within the European integration. They all want to join. They have to learn the 4 freedoms to dismantle all the barriers which exist. So we have quite a lot of work ahead of us, and I still stick to the fact that I think the title of my presentation is justified, and I continue to say to my son, go east, young man. That's where you have the opportunities. Thank you.
Ambassador Woschner, thank you very much for your interesting speech. Are there any questions directly to the ambassador from the audience? From you, maybe? No? From the panel? Yes, please.
Your Excellency, my name is Michael Budaski, and I'm the Director of Pasadena Investment Promotion. Thank you very much for your great contribution. I would like, additional to your speech, to add something. I don't know when our young colleagues were born, but it is quite questionable if they remember what happened in our region. But a basic message that I would like as someone who was at that point of time